This is going to be interesting. Donald Trump, at the G7 meeting, he appreciated two presidents, Vladimir Putin of Russia, Xi Jinping of China. These are two great individuals who are admired by most individuals. I can say most individuals do admire these people. So, and if you see clearly, who are these countries? They are countries who align themselves with Iran. So I don't know if we appreciated the likes of Western European powers, the likes Pepper Tigers, the likes of Britain, France, Germany, whatever. But these were the two individuals I got from that discussion. And I believe there is a great reason for doing that. But before I do it, let's see what he said about them.
The thing I want to thank China, President Xi. I was with him, and he stayed neutral, totally neutral, and I appreciate it. And I would want to thank Vladimir Putin. He was very neutral. They could have made it much more difficult for us. And I want to say it. Somebody would say, "Oh, that's terrible. He's thinking President Xi of China." Well, let me tell you, I had a long talk with him. They have shoulder weapons to knock down airplanes. That it's not like the real deal, but they're accurate. They're fairly accurate. I said I would really appreciate you're not giving or selling any of that stuff to Iran. And you know what? For the most part, he didn't.
Why would Donald Trump just go ahead and thank these two individuals? First, we need to understand who are the countries who signed the JCPOA. They were the United States, France, we have also Britain, United Kingdom, China, and Russia. Those were the countries, plus Germany and the European Union. Those were the countries who, under Donald Trump, not Donald Trump, but Barack Obama, together with these countries, they signed the JCPOA. So there were those countries who were friends of Iran and also enemies of Iran. So Donald Trump in 2018 decided to move out of that agreement, the JCPOA. Donald Trump as an individual or the United States as a country. So these other countries were left kind of stranded. But as usual, Donald Trump said it was a bad deal. So Donald Trump goes ahead in March 2026, he attacks Iran. Countries which were like, for example, we have Britain and also France, some of those countries, or NATO in general, these were the countries which Donald Trump wanted them to be involved in this war. Countries like Britain, they somehow supported Donald Trump, but from a distance. But countries like France, they were at a distance. So why would Donald Trump appreciate these two countries, that is China and France? No, not China and France, but China and Russia. I believe he used Vladimir Putin and Xi Jinping to come into an agreement with Iran. Because if those two were in the side of Iran, then Donald Trump was even not worse. He also was humiliated, but he didn't want to be humiliated any longer. So he probably requested those countries, that's Russia and China, because they have an influence on Iran, to somehow compel the Iranian government, not regime, I will not be talking about the regime, the Iranian government to come to the negotiating table and somehow relent because Donald Trump is having a midterm election crisis. He has at the moment, he has approval ratings of 30 to 38%, which is worse. And the likes of China, if they were going to continue to support Iran, then the United States was not going to sustain the humiliation in the world stage. Most countries are angry towards the United States because of the war which they started. So Donald Trump wanted to get out of this situation for a short period of time as possible, because the day he was promised by Benjamin Netanyahu that he was going to get out of this war within just 24 hours, it has taken almost 3 months and he is not out of it. He is not trying to win. The military bases of the United States, they have been destroyed in Gulf countries. The Gulf countries' assets are at a risk if the United States continue to push Iran. So Donald Trump, I believe, decided to appreciate these two countries, even though the Western media is going to go mad for Donald Trump trying to recognize these two individuals, Xi Jinping and Vladimir Putin. So it's going to be crazy, and that's why I believe Donald Trump had to appreciate those countries, because at the end of the day, he really doesn't care about how the media is going to paint him as a president. Anyway, I would like your thoughts. Why would you? What do you think made Donald Trump to recognize these two presidents at G7 in France?